And all I want you to do is just look down at your feet and get your bearings. Just get yourself nice and settled and realise where you are. And as you're looking down at your feet there, tell me, do you see your feet at all?
No.
No. So what I want you to do now is to look down and tell me, can you see the ground where you are there? What does it look like? What do you imagine that you're standing on? Just your first impression.
Gravel.
Gravel. Well, I want you to put one foot in front of the other of this gravel and look down as you're walking. And each step you're going deeper and deeper into that memory now. Connecting with that body. And as you look down at your feet, tell me, are you barefoot walking on this gravel, or do you feel that you've got something on your feet?
Barefoot.
You're barefoot. Yeah. And what I want you to do now is, I want you to imagine that you're glancing from the left and the right. Just glancing left and right so that you can check out the landscape of where you are. And where do you feel that you are? Do you feel that you're inside or outside?
Outside.
You're outside. Very good. And is it daytime there or is it night?
It's daytime.
It's daytime. And I want you now to connect with your body. And as you begin to connect with your body, you'll be able to just sense whether you're male or female. Are you male or female?
Male.
You're male. How old do you feel? Just see some numbers come to mind.
60.
You're 60. Yeah. So if you're 60 years old, you'll know your name in that life. Just the first name that comes. What's your name? What do people call you in that life? Hear your name being called. So you're walking around this gravel in the daytime. And tell me, what are you doing in that area? Are you working or resting? What's the purpose of you being there? Look around and tell me, why do you feel that you're there?
I'm pulling on a rope.
You're pulling on a rope? What is this rope attached to there?
Post.
It's a post. So are you working?
Yeah.
And why do you need to pull on this rope to this post? What kind of work do you do? I want you to just amplify that scene so that you can actually see the whole scene. Do you work alone or do you work with other people?
It's a boat.
It's a boat. Yeah. So are you working alone there or with others?
Alone.
Alone. So you're working on a boat. Are you restoring this boat or building it?
Tying it up.
Tying it up. So as you look around where you are now, you say that you buy this gravel. Are you in the sea or are you on a canal? What kind of boat is it?
Small boat.
It's a small boat. What do you do with this small boat? Is it your trade or is it leisure?
It's gone.
It's gone. So what country do you feel that you're in? I want you to connect with that thought. What country comes to mind?
France.
France. So are you in the north, the south, the east or west?
No.
You're in the north. You're in North France. So tell me more about this scene. So you're tying your boat up. Does that mean that you're going somewhere? Where are you going?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Are you a fisherman?
Yeah.
I want you to sense whether you've got any family in that life. Do you feel that you have any family in that life?
No.
No family. Well, in a moment I'm going to tap you on the forehead. When I tap you on the forehead, you're going to see some numbers come to mind. And that is going to be the year that you were in France. So when you're ready, 3, 2, 1. What year is it there?
1621.
1621. Thank you. So what I want to do now is close that scene as we travel on your journey, on your life now. We'll close that scene like you're flicking the switch of a remote control and just allow your mind to drift, float and wander forwards, because we are going to be looking for another significant time in that life when something is happening. So we're looking for another significant time in that life or another life when something is happening. So let's drift and float forward, going deeper into that memory. And now I'm going to count from 3 to 1, and when I get to 1, you're going to be at that time. So when you're ready, 3, drifting and floating down into that memory. 2 and 1. Be there now. How old do you feel now?
21.
21. So you've changed lives. Tell me, look at yourself. See your hands and your feet and feel your body and tell me, are you male or female in that life?
Yeah.
You're male. And as you look around, describe to me what's around you there. Are you by a beach or on a hillside, in a town or a village? Look around.
Can't see anything.
You can't see anything. Well, I want you to look down at your feet and tell me, are you wearing anything on your feet?
Boots.
Boots. And look at the ground around you. Describe that ground to me. What does it look like? Is it rock, sand, gravel? It's flat. And what kind of day is it there? Is it day or is it night?
Evening.
It's evening. And are you outside or in?
Outside.
You're outside. I want you to connect with the reason why you're there and seeing this scene. And tell me, why are you outside? in this flat area. What are you doing there?
Viewing.
You're viewing. Mm-hmm. I want you to hear your name being called. Listen for your name now. Hear it being called. What do they call you in that life?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, as you're viewing there, what is it that you're viewing? What are you keeping an eye on there?
Clouds.
The clouds. Mm-hmm. What's the purpose of you looking at the clouds? What do they mean to you?
Rain's coming.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Describe to me what you're wearing. Look down at your legs and your arms and feel your head. What are you wearing?
No. Arctic.
Arctic? Mhm. Do you feel alone there, where you are, or are you with a group?
Alone.
You're alone. Mhm. So I want you to fast forward this scene. I want you, as you follow my voice, I want you to fast forward this scene so that you can take me to the place in that life where you live. So as you continue to listen to my voice, just drift and float forward, drifting and floating forward, until you're at the place where you live, and describe it to me. Do you live in a house or a cave?
I'll see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want you to take me now to the end of that life, just so that we can see how you did in that life. So all you'll be doing is viewing your lessons. So when you're ready, close that scene now and go forward, drifting, floating forward. And we're going to the last day of your life so that you can lift your soul out of your body. 3, 2, and 1. See yourself there now on your last day. How old do you feel there?
80.
80. Mm-hmm. Are you on your own, or is there people there?
People, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are these people family, or are they other people?
I don't know.
Well, what I want you to do now is I want you to take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe in, just imagine that you're stepping your soul out of that body, because it's just a vehicle, that's right. And I want you to imagine that you're just raised above that body about 3 foot, so that we can evaluate that life. How do you think you fared in that life? Did you do a good job?
Okay.
You did okay? Mm-hmm. Are there some things that you could have done better? Yeah. Well, there'll be things that you can work on. Well, now that you're out of the body, it's normal at this time that someone or something comes to collect you to take you home. And that could be to your soul group, or just anywhere that's really comfortable and relaxed for you. So when you're ready, as you listen to my voice, I want you to imagine that someone or something is drawing even closer to you, getting closer and closer, until you can see them in front of you. And tell me, what do you imagine is there to take you home?
Me.
You. So what I want you to do now is just imagine that you're lifting up above that scene, just taking your soul back up, going up and up and up, and as you float up and up and up, you're shedding all the trauma and the negativity of that life until you're like a light white orb, and see yourself soaring into the sky, going up and up and up. And I want you to go to the place where your group is up there, or where you go, and feel yourself drifting, floating up now, through time and space. Nearly there now. 3, 2, and 1. Where do you feel that you are now?
Anywhere.
So do you feel that you're in the universe?
Yeah.
Well, if you're in the universe, you can go to the left or the right. But I want you to sense what's around you. Are there any colours around you there?
Blue.
No. No colours. And what's the purpose of you just floating through space? Why have you floating through space rather than to go to a particular place? Look around and see if there's any other souls around that you can connect with. Do you sense any other souls around you?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many do you sense that are around you?
3.
3. Ask them to come forward so that you can see them and sense them, because you can telepathically communicate now. Bring those souls forward. Describe to me what they look like.
Yellow.
They're yellow. What does the colour yellow mean for them? Ask them. What does the colour mean?
Bright.
Bright. Now that you can communicate telepathically, I want you to ask them if they've got a message for you. Just ask them, have you got a message for me today? What do they say?
Do well.
They're doing well. So clearly he's quite a warrior and he's been given quite a lot of challenges. Thank you for that message. Now what I want to do now is I want you to close that scene so that we can continue now. And I want to be able to talk to your inner self, and as I touch your head now, I want you to be able to connect with your mind, your subconscious mind, that some call their inner self. And I want that memory to come forward so that you can tell me what's going on. So as the subconscious mind, the inner self comes forward, I want to know, how is he doing in his body today?
Low.
How is he doing?
Low.
Low.
Alone.
Alone. Is there a reason that he's alone? Should he be alone, or has he made himself alone?
Purpose.
He's what?
On purpose.
On purpose. Mhm. So what's the purpose of him being alone? Did he choose a contract where he was going to be on his own, or has he made himself on his own?
Me himself.
Uh-huh. So I want to ask the minds now, is this doing him any good for him to be on his own and so isolated?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Mhm. Yeah. So sometimes it's not, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I want you now to scan this body with me. So we're going to start at the top of the head, and you're going to feel that heat at the top of your head. Just as if you've got X-ray vision, let's just go through the head, down through the eyes and the jaw, the shoulders and the torso, all down the tummy area, around the thighs, the knees, down the calves to the feet. And whereabouts in this body do you feel that we might be able to work? Where do you feel a different vibration or a sense?
Shoulders.
Shoulders. Uh-huh. So what's going on in the shoulders then? I want you to connect with your shoulders and the muscles and tell me, how do they feel?
Ache.
They ache. Do they ache with work, or are they carrying too much?
Both.
Mm-hmm. It's both. So describe to me, what are your shoulders carrying? Just go in there and you'll be able to sense what kind of things are your shoulders carrying.
Wanting to do well.
Wanting to do well. Mm-hmm. So do you feel that he's putting too much pressure on himself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So shall we take a little bit of that pressure away from him today?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to connect with those shoulders. So I'm going to put my hands on these shoulders. And as I put my hands on these shoulders and continue to talk, I want you to imagine that my hands are like a magnet, and they will draw this energy out of your shoulders because you've just topped yourself up with too much pressure. So as I continue to talk, just imagine now that all that pressure is lifting out of those shoulders. Feel it rising up and up and up into my hand. And the more I talk, the more it just floats up into my hand. So let me take that pressure. Have I got it all now?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And have a look in the body and tell me what's going on in the heart area there. Does that look okay? Hurt. Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to connect with the heart area. And I want to connect with that energy. And because all energy is consciousness, I actually want to be able to speak to this energy. So I'm going to draw this energy up to your voice box so that you can talk for it and tell me what it's doing there. So when you're ready, I'm going to bring it up, 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 up. Energy, what are you doing in the heart area?
Protecting.
Protecting. Mhm. What are you protecting him from?
Damage.
Damage? Mhm. How long have you been in the heart?
Long time.
Mhm. So what symptoms do you cause him then by being there in the heart?
Protection.
Protection? Mhm. Tell me, do you feel like you're a male energy or a female energy?
Yeah, man.
You're a male energy. Mhm. And do you have a name?
No.
No. So tell me, have you attached yourself to his heart?
Yeah.
I thought you had. Right. So you tell me that you're a male that's attached to his heart now. So what I want to do is, I want to go back to your life, and I want you to now just imagine that you're drifting and floating back in time to the time when you actually had a life. Just feel yourself, that's right, just feel yourself drifting and floating very easily and calmly back to that life. 3, 2 and 1. Be there now. So tell me about your life. What were you in your life? You say that you're male. Look around. What happened in your life?
It's dark.
It's dark. Uh-huh. Is that dark because you're in a closed area? Or is it dark because you're sad? Connect with that darkness and tell me what it feels. Do you feel that you're closed in the darkness, or do you feel it's just a dark space?
Closed down.
You're closed in. Uh-huh. Yeah. So you say that you're closed in. Are they walls? Or are you in a boat? Are you in a cave?
Tight space.
You're in a tight space. What are you doing in that tight space? Just connect and tell me, what was happening for you to be in that tight space? How did you get there? Just go back in time a little bit so you can see how you actually got there. That's right. Now I'm going to put my hand on your head, calm you down. Very good. And the more I talk, the more you will see and sense. How did you get in that dark, tight space?
Locked up.
You were locked up. What were you locked up for?
Can't say.
You can't say. So it was something bad. Is this why you're still hanging around and taking up space in his heart?
I don't know.
Well, I think it's time that you went home, that you went up and home to your family, so that we could lift you out of this heart and leave him in peace. What do you think? Are you ready to go now? That you've been found?
I don't want to.
Well, I'll tell you what. You'll have a soul family waiting for you. And they've been waiting years and years for you to come home. So what I want you to do now is I want you to imagine that in your hands is a leather-bound book.